Your Hisense television is stuck in an endless cycle of turning on, showing the logo, and immediately restarting. This reboot loop has rendered your TV completely unusable, and it always seems to happen right around the 2-year mark. This isn't a coincidence, and the fix is simpler than you might think. A reboot loop occurs when your television's operating system attempts to start up, but encounters a critical error that forces it to restart. In Hisense smart TVs, this problem almost always traces back to failing hardware components rather than software corruption. The TV gets trapped in this cycle because it can't complete its boot sequence, creating an infinite loop of attempted restarts. The primary culprit behind this failure is the power supply board, specifically the electrolytic capacitors soldered onto it. These cylindrical components store and regulate electrical charge, ensuring stable power delivery to all parts of your television. Budget manufacturers use lower-quality capacitors that degrade significantly faster than their premium counterparts. Electrolytic capacitors contain a liquid electrolyte that gradually evaporates over time, especially when exposed to heat. As this electrolyte depletes, the capacitor loses its ability to hold charge effectively. In a television that runs for several hours daily and generates substantial internal heat, this degradation accelerates dramatically. After roughly 2 years of use, these capacitors reach a critical failure point where they can no longer provide stable voltage. When the power supply can't deliver consistent voltage, the main board receives fluctuating power that causes the processor to malfunction during startup. The television detects this instability and triggers a protective restart, but since the underlying power issue persists, the cycle repeats endlessly. This is why your TV powers on but never makes it past the logo screen. The solution requires opening your television and replacing the failed capacitors on the power supply board. Before attempting this repair, unplug your TV and wait at least 30 minutes to allow residual charge to dissipate. Remove the back panel by unscrewing all perimeter screws, then locate the power supply board, which is typically positioned along one edge and features the main power input connector. Examine the capacitors carefully. Failed capacitors often show visible signs of damage, including bulging tops, leaking electrolyte residue, or discoloration around the base. Even if they appear normal, capacitors in the 2 to 3-year-old range are likely degraded. The most common failure points are capacitors in the 10 to 16 volt range with capacitance values between 470 and 1,000 microfarads. You'll need a soldering iron, desoldering pump or wick, and replacement capacitors with identical specifications. Capacitors are polarized components, meaning they must be installed in the correct orientation. Note the negative stripe marking on the original capacitors before removal. Desolder the old capacitors by heating each leg while using your desoldering tool to remove the solder, then insert the new capacitors, ensuring the negative leg aligns with the marked pad on the board. After replacing the capacitors, reassemble your television and test it. In most cases, this repair completely resolves the reboot loop and restores full functionality. The entire repair typically costs less than $10 in parts and takes about 30 minutes once you have the necessary tools. This failure pattern reveals a broader issue with budget smart television manufacturing. To hit aggressive price points, manufacturers make calculated compromises in component quality. While the display panel itself may be decent, the supporting electronics use the cheapest possible parts that meet minimum specifications. These components are designed to survive the warranty period, but not necessarily to provide long-term reliability. Thermal management also suffers in budget televisions. Inadequate ventilation and minimal heat sinking cause internal temperatures to rise higher than in premium models. This elevated operating temperature accelerates the degradation of every electronic component, but capacitors are particularly vulnerable. A capacitor running 10 degrees hotter can have its lifespan cut in half. The business model relies on consumers replacing rather than repairing failed televisions. When a $200 TV fails after 2 years, most people simply buy another one rather than attempting a repair. This creates a cycle of consumption that benefits manufacturers but generates enormous electronic waste. A simple capacitor replacement could extend the television's life by several more years. Understanding this planned obsolescence empowers you to make better purchasing decisions. If you choose a budget television, know that you're likely looking at a 2 to 3 year lifespan unless you're willing to perform maintenance repairs. Alternatively, investing in a mid-range model from manufacturers with better component quality can provide significantly longer service life. The Hisense Reboot loop is ultimately a solvable problem caused by predictable component failure. Replacing degraded capacitors restores your television to working condition and demonstrates how minor repairs can combat the throwaway culture of modern electronics. Whether you tackle the repair yourself or take this knowledge to a repair technician, you now understand both the cause and the cure for this common failure mode.